Very quickly after the release of that 1,300 page plus CR, there was a lot of a reaction, many of it coming from the right flank of the GOP, who say it's not what the Republican Party should be doing at this point. Effectively, as we've said many times, kicking the can down the aisle here. So let's talk about it more with Bobby Eberle. He's a Republican strategist and host of the 13-minute News Hour. Up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Bobby, good to meet you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
We've been down this road many, many times before, and usually it comes down to the last minute, and they come up with a short-term spending plan. And Mike Johnson said he wanted to do away with that, but he's been speaker almost a year, and here we are again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There was actually just a little bit of patience from most of the GOP caucus this time around, if they would have done a clean CR, meaning just address those things that would run out of money at the end of the year, fund those for a little bit. You know, that's been a classic bane of Republican existence, right? We want a budget. We want the 12 appropriations committees to vote on bills that we can pass. But there was a little patience this time because we knew Trump was going to come in and he could fix things. But what's really driving everyone crazy this time is that it's not a clean CR. It's loaded with all this extra spending and gifts to pharma and extending a farm bill another year and things like that. That's what's really a pay raise for the congressman. So that's what's driving people crazy right now. And it's really come to the point with the opposition that's growing to just say, hey, let's just shut this down and let's just do it right.
But a lot of the people in the Trump camp are pretty much echoing what you say, including the likes of Elon Musk, who, as we know, is wielding a lot of power in this new administration.
Right. I mean, he came out on X and said, look, anyone who votes for this should be primaried next time around. That's a strong statement. And I think Johnson has been riding a little high. Speaker Johnson has been riding high because he received the Trump endorsement, too. You know, you saw those pictures of him flying on the plane and hanging out with the cool kids, as we call them. And but I think he really overstepped this time, because now there's talk not only of possibly not voting for this and shutting it down, but this leading to a serious challenge in January for the speakership. And he was just voted unanimously to in the caucus to support him. But again, that's coming right off the heels of the victory, Trump's endorsement, and things like that. But right now, I think it's a whole new ball game, and we seriously need to reevaluate and vote no against this bill.
Okay, so if the government shuts down, you know how it goes. There's a lot of people say, well, think about the government employees, think about some of the landmarks that will be shut down in the case of a partial government shutdown. We've been down this road before. It's been a couple of years since. Do you trust the idea that if it were to be passed, that Speaker Johnson might say, okay, no more CRs in the future. We're gonna do it right, or we're not going to do it at all?
Well, you know, that's what they keep saying. And I think it's almost like that, you know, the kicking the Charlie Brown getting the football, and then it just keeps getting pulled away every single time. And every time we get to this point, it's almost like the quote "for the children" debate. You know, it's like, let's do this for the children. They load up this stuff like hurricane relief aid for Milton and for Helene. That's desperately needed, but that could be a standalone bill and debate the merits, get that passed and adjusted. But to throw it into here when it's loaded with this other stuff, that's just the thing. It's like, how can you vote against this hurricane relief? You're really not. You want to support that, but you got to take a stand on this just spending, where Johnson is siding with he's building a Democrat coalition to counter the Republican opposition that's building, and that's not good. And that's not good, as you led in this spirit of Doge and government efficiency and cutting things back. It's like, hey, we're going to make one last stand to actually just spend like crazy before we have to cut corners.
Last thing I want to ask you, and I know it's all speculative at this point because nobody knew who Mike Johnson was when Kevin McCarthy was speaker. Well, people in Louisiana did. But if not, if Mike Johnson will not provide the leadership that a lot of Republicans, the likes of, I think one name, I know Marjorie Taylor Greene, who led a motion to vacate, which didn't go anywhere. But if not him, who's the voice of this movement in the House if it's not Mike Johnson?
Well, you know, Jim Jordan has said he wouldn't do it. But one that kind of was in a couple of the rounds, more like a standard, a symbol in the last time that could be effective, is Byron Donalds. I would love to see him step up. He's a voice of reason, super, super smart. He's experienced, and I think he could lead the coalition. Definitely a MAGA representative. but in a way that doesn't polarize. He tells it like it is. He'll go on Fox, he'll go on CNN, he'll go anywhere to get that message, that America First message out. And it's an agenda that lifts everybody up. I think he'd be excellent.
And Bobby, that's something a lot of lawmakers need to do. You need to get away from your echo chambers, and that goes for Democrats and Republicans. And that's something you mentioned Byron Donalds does. Pete Buttigieg does it on the left. Regardless, the fight continues. Bobby Eberle, great to meet you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.